Sorry for the technical difficulties, but I just heard we're ready for Mario Kart 64 with Superchraizy17.
I'm too early. All right.
A little bit of a false start there.
I'm sorry. All right. Okay. Hi. Is it on?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to start Mario Kart 64. All cups 150cc, no skips. In 3, 2, 1, go. All right. So this is Mario Kart 64. 150cc, the fastest mode. No skips. Pretty much, yeah. Skips is a little bit annoying to play because some shortcuts are really hard to pull off. So yeah, I just decided to play the no skips category because it's better for a marathon, easier to estimate. Yeah. On the couch back to me, you see Goomba, Lefungo with the mic, and Carol on the left side.
Yeah, just to make it clear what the category is, the name is pretty long, but what it boils down to is you're just playing through all the tracks as quickly as you can without using any major shortcuts or glitches, which there are plenty in this game.
There's a few allowed in no skips, which are not technically shortcuts, but
yeah, we say they're intended by the developers and kind of just wave our hands at them. You'll see one coming up, I think third track it is, Koopa Troopa Beach.
Yeah, Koopa Troopa Beach is the first one with an actual allowed skip through the tunnel.
Oh, we'll get to that later. First thing you'll notice is that Chris is playing Toad here. You have 3 choices of characters that you can play for speedruns or time trials, and those are the 3 lightweight characters, so Toad, Peach, and Yoshi. For the most part, it boils down to personal preference. You know, some people don't like the turning animation of one of the characters or find that one of their voices is more suited to their personal taste or whatever. However, for the speedrun, it is slightly faster to pick either Toad or Yoshi due to their menu placement, I believe. Peach is slightly further out.
Yeah. Most don't like Yoshi because he's really leaning left and right with his head, and that's annoying to most. I personally like it, but I like to play more with Toad because he's so small and you can see more of the track, like what's going on. It's better for me, preferably to use Toad. But since it's faster to just go down the menu in the other cups, like while the time is already running, we choose Yoshi because it's just faster to choose.
This track is Moo Moo Farm. Nothing particularly special this track aside from the obstacle, which you hear as he drives through the mole patches. The moles are 100% random, and they peek out a little bit from the hole, and then afterwards jump out of the hole. And in both those instances, if you're driving over the mole patch at that moment, then you get knocked up high into the air and lose a ton of time.
Not RNG though.
Yeah, it's like spin out to second place, get a golden shroom.
Just gotta go wide here, yeah.
Nice trade-off.
Yeah, I would have lost a lot of time actually, but I spun out because I steered too fast. This is a thing in 150cc. If you steer too fast to left and right, you're going to spin out, and this is really a major factor in this one because sometimes you miss MTs and you try to readjust your alignment, and then you just spin out because you're just steering too fast. That's bad. You want to avoid this.
And it's something that only happens in 150cc, and time trials are in 100cc. So as a community, we play more time trials overall, although the Mario Kart 64 community tends to have more speedruns than the other Mario Karts. But for those of us who are more used to time trials, the spinouts are definitely we're not used to at all.
Yeah.
Moving to speedruns.
This is going to be a major problem on some courses here, like Bowser's Castle later, because there's some parts where we really don't want... Oh, that was bad. We saved it a little bit. There's some parts in BC that you really don't want to spin out at. Like the bridge, where if you spin out, you just fall down the lava and lose like 5 seconds.
So coming up here is the little shortcut we were talking about earlier. So you just take the ramp up and land in the tunnel there, and it cuts quite a significant amount of time. For a speedrun, you definitely want to be doing that 3 out of 3.
I missed the timing. What I wanted to do here is get a glitch going on, like the 8th place glitch. You go a little bit out of bounds, not out of bounds, off the track. Okay, let's go on. You want to go a little bit off track and just activate the item as soon as you're approaching the finish line, which lets the game think you're in 8th place. So basically, I missed it. Not really used to this right now. Yeah, basically you can get 8th place items like a star, or sometimes a lightning, red shells. A star would be optimal. A golden mushroom would be nice as well, but, well, yeah, nothing to do about this.
And the reason that works is because the way the game determines your position on the track is based on a very complicated checkpoint system that like crisscrosses all these different polygons on the track. And because this is a fairly early 3D game, it's the first 3D Mario Kart, it sometimes get a little bit confused with where you are on the track. And that's also how you trigger a lot of glitches in this game. By hitting polygons you're not supposed to at specific angles and specific timings.
Do we have time for a donation?
Of course, yeah.
We have €4 from Shock saying, "Good luck, Chris." Also, I can definitely get behind the Fingo Sucks character name for Dark Souls 2. And that
Nice.
makes Fingo Sucks for Dark Souls in the lead with €13.
Damn, it's all going to a good cause at least. And by good cause I mean Dark Souls file names, naturally.
That's a good cause. Nice. Yeah, this is Calamari Desert. It's a straightforward track with a train that is going to cross our path, which is a little bit annoying because you can't really get past it if it's in the way unless you drive under it. But this is really, really risky and hard to do, so I'm not going to attempt this here. Like this, it's just going to be fast enough to stop me here, but it's okay. If I have a ghost, I can just pass through, but yeah, I need good RNG, you know.
So the trains here on this track are on a set timer. So depending on what pace you're racing at, either in time trials or Grand Prix, you'll end up having trouble with the trains at specific intervals. So, you know, usually once you hit certain time barriers in time trials, you'll hit like a train on lap 2, for example, at the first crossing. And then maybe if you're a little bit faster, it might be the train on the second crossing on lap 3, for example.
Losing time here now is not too bad because this train is in my way anyway. I lost a bit too much time though, so now get a ghost, of course. Nice RNG.
Naturally.
Yeah. Well, I could have just sandbagged the star maybe and left it for lap 3 or lap 2. Just cross the nice. And there's another good RNG. Right. Okay, we're going to reset after the cup, so yeah. Just to save time, you know. Okay, what I mean now is we choose Yoshi because it's faster to choose him. Yeah. Also, I like to play zoomed out. It's a little easier to control in 150cc. And if I remember correctly, it even reduces some lag.
Yep, there's a bunch of lag reduction, especially on Calamari Desert, the last track that Chris played. There's quite a bit of lag on that one that you may have noticed at some points, especially when the train was nearby. I think on lap 3, after he crossed the second train crossing, there was some lag there. And if he had been zoomed in, there would have been a lot more lag throughout the course.
That was bad.
Also, if it isn't clear why he reset after the cup there, it's because there's an unskippable end of cup, like the cup ceremony, award ceremony cutscene at the end of each cup that is completely unskippable and that wastes a ton of time if you were to just watch it.
We're speedrunning here, so we have no time to watch this.
Unfortunately, Mario Kart 64 does not have an all-cup tour mode like Double Dash does, which makes it a lot more convenient for speedrunners.
It was bad.
So as with the trains on Calamari Desert, all the vehicles on Toad's Turnpike are on fixed timers, set intervals. They always go the same speed. They're always going to be in the same position. Usually, like having a bad position, depending on your speed, in terms of where the vehicles are, generally isn't as impactful as the train on Calamari Desert, but there are a couple configurations that can be very difficult to navigate. Specifically, when you have two trucks that are right next to each other, usually like in a corner, like here. This one can be a little tricky, but he gets it really nicely.
Yeah, the reason why I'm doing right-facing MTs, even though the track is going to the left side, is I'm really not used to doing so many left-facing mini turbos. This is really hard for me. So I'm just trying to adjust my MTs to the right side and straights as much as I can, so I can just cleanly get them.
Yeah, I suppose that is something we didn't mention at all, is that in this game, even though you would normally do mini turbos around corners because, you know, you have to start a drift and kind of wiggle your stick back and forth left and right, or at least tap it in a direction, you can still do mini turbos on straights because of how wide some of the tracks are, and also just how quickly you can charge mini turbos.
Decent. Yeah, mini turbos are very important in this game to go fast. It's just like every Mario Kart up to, well, Mario Kart DS is the last game which is manual MTs, where I actually need to do something, not just drift to get a mini turbo. Yeah, and the first Mario Kart 64, Mario Kart Double Dash have a very similar system. Damn, I missed it. Okay, we're going to use a technique to start fast, which is called AAA, by just pressing A 3 times to accelerate a lot faster. Very useful on some places later on as well. In Donkey Kong Parkway, we're going to use this. I'm going up the tunnel.
Yeah, so in general, getting hit by items in this game is usually less punishing than in other Mario Karts because you have the AAA tap available to you. So you basically just lose the time of getting hit by the item when you're in the knockdown animation, but you get back to max speed almost immediately.
Alright, we got a shroom. Now I can show the shortcut, the time trial shroom spot, which saves actually like 2 seconds if you do it right. I get it right.
Nice.
That was a little bit messy at the end. It's still faster though, so yeah.
So what makes that tricky is that if you hit if you go a little bit too far to the left and hit the wrong polygon, it considers you as being off-road, and Lakitu comes and picks you up.
Yeah, which is why you don't want to go too much into off-road. Like there's some spots where you can just cut a lot of the track in the snow, but it's hard to do actually with the shrooms. Especially this shroom spot is really hard to do because you have to time your drift to let it go at the right time, so you can go really far. But yeah, I just missed it by sliding down the slope at the end because it didn't go far enough. I was a little bit sloppy, but it's still fine. Yeah, the start boost.
I should also mention on lap 3, Chris hit a banana, I believe, or starting a spin out animation at least.
Yeah,
And he canceled it by braking. That's just a feature of the game where if you're starting a spin out in a straight line and you just slam the brake, it'll give you a little musical note that'll pop up above your cart and it'll cancel the spin out. And then you can triple A tap and get back to max speed.
So that was a bit wide. Okay, I missed MT. It's really hard to do this one, especially for me, since it's a really hard left facing straight stretched MT. Basically you need to jump as late as possible and then steer as hard as you can. Holy shit. That was close. That was
close one. Nice save.
Come on. Oh, I missed him.
Yeah, so you may be noticing that the CPUs, especially Toad, are right on Chris's tail right now, and are in fact passing him. That's not necessarily a sign of Chris not doing very well. It's more so the game is designed that way, where if you've ever tried playing this game, you've probably noticed the AI rubber bands a lot. You might have like a huge lead, and all of a sudden the AI is going way faster than it ever should. And it's very apparent on tracks if you do like major skips. So like for example, if you do the Rainbow Road big jump there, where you cut half the track or so, you'll notice at the end of the race that the CPU times are insanely fast, and in fact, usually faster than what the non-shortcut world record is.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Basically, if you're unlucky, the CPU will be on your back all the time. And sometimes, if you just spin out of something, let's say Bowser, someone is behind you and third place and coming really close, you're not having an easy time. Next up is Mario Raceway. It's a pretty straightforward track with a little trick, but we are not going to do this because the time save is not big enough for the risk we have to take to do this. Basically, it's jumping through this mushroom and the wall. But it's not worth it because there's piranha plants and you need to jump over them. And if you hit them, they're going to screw you up. Yeah, that shroom was nice.
So if you were watching the double dash run just before this, and then you compare it to what's going on here, you may notice that in 64 there are a lot fewer mini turbos happening, and that's in part due to the charging mechanics. It takes slightly longer to charge a mini turbo in Mario Kart 64, but Mario Kart 64 also has a property in terms of how the mini turbos work, where you actually want to let them last as long as possible, which is also in Double Dash, but in Mario Kart 64, it's what we call the glide, and that lasts a lot longer than in Double Dash.
Right. Coming up the next skip. Pretty slow skip.
The reset.
The reset, yeah.
Console, yeah. It's like you hit the button, then half a second later.
Yeah. I slipped off. It's okay, it's like 1 second. Nothing to worry about. Yeah, this is probably one of the more boring tracks. I had to concentrate. Yeah, this is a very long track with a lot of tricky corners. Let's see if we can get this done. Right, sub 3:35 would be pretty good, but I don't think we can get this so easily. So just let's try.
Quick note is that at the beginning of the cup, you start in 8th place, and you saw that when he did the start boost, he jumped off his CPU and bounced over everyone else in front of him. And that's just like a neat little trick you can do when you start in a lower position. Helps avoid all the CPUs. Get out of their way.
Oh, okay. Those walls are tricky. Come on.
I don't want to jinx it, but that jump he just did there is the worst spot in the game to get lightning. So far he hasn't been hit by a lightning.
It's good, yeah. Getting hit by a lightning in this game is more rare than Double Dash. A lot more rare.
For sure. I'd say on average you get maybe, what, 1 or 2 in per run?
Yeah.
I want to say.
That's accurate, actually.
And blue shells are not a factor.
That's true, yeah. Yeah, there's no blue shells at all in this game. Unless, of course, you shoot them at yourself.
the item exists. It's just that the CPUs in this game never fire shells, be they green, red, or blue. That's a nice little perk.
Yeah, I missed that slide.
You see here, he hit the wall, landed on the slope, but immediately went back to max speed because he's able to do the triple A tap.
So far, the pace is not too bad. It's not great, but it's not too bad, actually. Come on.
no lightning at least.
Yeah, that was the most important thing. Using so many teams. Okay. That's okay. I'm okay with that. Last lap was clean. Yeah, I hit many walls. Thing about this is, wall hitting will slow you down a lot, actually. Especially in Rainbow Road, if you hit walls after a mini turbo, you're going to lose not much time. But if it happens in every mini turbo, you're not going to benefit a lot of it. It's an annoying course.
No crack jump.
No
Maybe next
shortcuts.
lap.
Most close. I'm not going to use my mushroom here. It's actually a better spot, but it's risky with the penguins, so I'm just going to use it here uphill to save a little bit of time.
The penguins are also on a fixed timer, but because he made a slight mistake lap 1,
They're going to be really
he couldn't really know where the penguins were.
I still know where they are, but now it's going to be a bit more annoying to get past them. Under placement. Oh, come on. Ah! Second banana. Okay. Oh, no, not this time. Alright. That was Royal Raceway, or Peach Circuit in the Japanese version. This is the second track with the item manipulation glitch. You can just come on, man, what's going on? Wow.
Since he missed the start boost this time around, I'm going to use that as an excuse to mention that there's a very slight optimization in the start boost in this game. There's only one way, there's only one type of start boost in all the older Mario Karts. So it's like you either get it or you don't. But in Mario Kart 64, there's something called the Everett start, which is named after the person who first discovered this little optimization, where normally you start holding the accelerator at a specific time. Wow.
Lucky.
Nice lightning dodge.
Yeah, there's a
It's
thing.
perfectly calculated.
Yeah. Oh, look at this.
You get your own.
Revenge.
That's your quota for the run. You got 2 lightnings. Nice. So what I was saying, yeah, so the Everett start is instead of just starting to hold the accelerator at a specific time to get the start boost, you hold down the accelerator from the get-go and then release it and press it again with correct timing, and it saves exactly 1 frame every single time you do it. So, 16 tracks in the game. If you do it correctly every time, you get 16 extra frames.
Why are you afraid? Yeah, it's actually not too hard to do, but I messed it up because I really can't concentrate when I need to commentate and play at the same time, as you may see.
Just blame it on the TV being in black and white.
Oh, I'm used to black and white, actually.
Damn.
Just concentrating to know what to say. That's why I have you. Come on.
We have time for a few donations.
Of course.
First off, we have €5 from Critical Sid saying, "Here's $5 for the swear jar so Zeta won't bully me. Put this to a good use, like a Rayman Free Glitch exhibition." And we have €10 from Arctic Refers. Shoutouts to Rico for defeating leukemia in a goddamn month. More than happy to help out my English Dutch Cancer Society as a thank you for contributing and helping out the amazing man.
Yeah, now it's coming out the worst part of the run. It's Bowser's Castle. It's my biggest nightmare. I really don't like this track. You'll probably see why.
This track can go sour very quickly.
Especially for me.
So these thwomps right here that are popping out in front of the screen, those are one of the few elements in this game that aren't on a fixed timer. The thwomps they're stationed at the beginning of the hallway, and once someone enters the hallway, any cart, doesn't have to be the human player, the thwomps will follow that cart and just slam down at a specific portion of the hallway. So one strategy that's used in time trials is that you'll usually set a pilot ghost that attempts to enter the hallway as quickly as possible by using all 3 shrooms just at the beginning of the track, and the ghost will actually trigger these thwomps to move, and that way you at least dodge the thwomps on all 3 laps, because by keeping your ghost in the hallway room for as long as it would take you to complete the track normally, it triggers the thwomps to just keep moving constantly instead of waiting for you to show up.
Oof, okay, lucky. Ooh.
But unfortunately, there are no such luxuries in Grand Prix.
So far, this is going actually not bad.
So far.
I'm surprised. I couldn't make it. This
Thwomp didn't raise in time.
Yeah. It's hard to dodge. That's what I meant. It's really hard to dodge those thwomps. Like, to know where they are and to run. Really hard to adjust to. Okay, up to the last cup. Okay, this is the last really dangerous track where I can lose a lot of time because there's many hazards. Also, this is the most laggy track in this run. Yeah,
It's really bad.
It's also really hard to adjust to this for the start boost, as you might have seen. This was not me being distracted by commentating. It's just hard to hit. Get used to this. Right, this jump is really hard to hit. Right, because this was just a safe stretch, a safe jump. Not even going to risk this, because falling down puts you back on the ramp, which makes you lose almost 10 seconds, which is not worth it, instead of just giving 1 second for a safe jump.
So if you play the remake of this track in Mario Kart Wii, you may be a bit confused by what's going on at the jump over the river there. In Mario Kart Wii, it would just send you in a specific direction at a specific speed. But here, it's more like you're just launching yourself off the track, but it's giving you this weird boost.
Oh no, and this could have happened, yeah. This is what I meant. If you just spin out before it, yeah.
That's 150cc. Wow, you made it, yeah.
That was what I meant, was a perfect jump.
Is that one? It seems when you get a really nice jump to the left, it seems like you're about to hit the wall, but you kind of just phase through it and land on the floor anyways. Yeah, in Mario Kart 64, you can determine your own angle for the jump by angling your cart before getting launched off.
take it safe. Probably lost like 3 seconds here, but as I said, it's better than just falling down.
And I didn't mention on the first 2 laps, but here on the cave, kind of climbs up the wall by just hopping as fast as he can, and then triple A tapping as soon as up and over it.
Yeah, basically you're pressing R as fast as possible to climb the wall, triple tap at the same time on A to regain speed as fast as possible. It's actually a pretty new strat because before you just try to jump up and then triple tap A to get your speed back. Now you're just doing it simultaneously. Get it both done at once.
If you never played this game before, Yoshi Valley is a unique track in the entire series. It has this little gimmick where it doesn't tell you who's in what position for the track. As you can see on the top left of the screen with the question marks. As there are a bunch of different paths you can take throughout the track.
Yeah, and the cut you saw right now was the second allowed shortcut. It's just a hairpin jump that you can take and can make without using any out-of-bounds glitches or whatever, jumping up a wall. It's just intended in the game. Oh, there's another lightning, wow. I've been hit by so many lightnings in one run.
One.
It's okay.
You dodged the other one, right?
It's the second lightning, by the way. Oh yeah. Come on, I'm missing so many mini turtles.
Yeah, also, the path he's taking for this track is not the optimal one, but the fastest one is essentially time trial only because there are these spinies that go back and forth on the track on the best path to take, and it's very difficult to navigate them, especially since in Grand Prix you don't know you don't always have the same speed, the same timing coming into the lap, so you don't really know where the spinies are, and some configurations are very difficult to navigate at all. And you can spin out, fall off the track, all sorts of nonsense can happen. So it's just much safer to take a slightly slower route throughout the valley.
Yeah. If you spin out and fall down, you probably lose like, I guess 10 seconds, which is, compared to those 2 seconds you give in, well, a lot. Right, second last track, Banshee Boardwalk, or in this version, I cannot say this. It's a pretty straightforward track. It's a little bit annoying in the bad house later track, but otherwise it's actually a pretty easy track, unless you get bodied by some CPUs or some items. Also, ghosts are really distracting sometimes.
Yeah, so what he just exited there, that little area is the bat house. He managed to avoid them all that first lap, but a swarm of bats appears out of treasure chests in 2 of the corners of the room and come flying at you. And if you run into them, you don't spin out or anything, but they kind of knock you out of the way, and they make you fall off very easily, or at least run into a wall or something.
Okay, didn't work.
Specifically, that little jump over the crack that he does, if you were to hit a bat just before, it'd probably throw him off.
It was a okay lap so far, run so far. I want to save the shroom for this spot because I'm losing a lot of time here without a shroom. But I messed it up. Yeah. Great one. At least I didn't fall down.
You got the bat house all 3 laps. That's nice.
That's decent. That's consistent at least. Not a very great time, but it's consistent. Alright, up to the last track now. You all know what it is. It might be.
I thought it was Luigi Raceway.
Oh. Yeah, this is going to be a very long track. And the only thing we're going to avoid in this track is some chain jumps that are running across this track without legs. They're just biting through the road. And yeah, for some it's hard to dodge them. It's actually hard to dodge in 150cc because the timing is different. Sometimes you don't see them quick enough to dodge them. Like this one is very easy. You see him very far before he approaches you. Gonna take save the shroom for later. This little uphill section for the shroom will be really useful.
Yeah, so he uses the shroom there because it's the most uphill section of the track, the one that saves the most time. Because otherwise you lose quite a bit of speed there.
There's a little slope in here where you sometimes drift off way too quickly and it messes up your rhythm a little bit. It's not too bad. Makes you maybe missing them too, but it's not too bad.
So you'll notice here he brakes. You could hear the brake sound. And he slows down there to try to clip the track as it falls away beneath him. Because if you manage to stick to the track, you gain quite a bit of speed there.
Yeah, you could jump off that slope, but it's going to be a lot slower because you are not that fast compared to sticking to the road.
See him lose a bunch of speed there compared to lap 1, where he had the mushroom. Has to triple tap as he approaches the top of the hill. Nice chain chomp dodge, by the way, as I was talking.
Thanks. There's another one coming up here, but I don't know where it is.
Oh, you're fine.
Just go and
Yeah, taking it safe.
That's what I meant. Sometimes you just go straight into a drift at this point. It's really annoying, but well, it's no big time loss. Yeah, I miss this trick like every time. It's not too bad.
The first lap was pretty good.
Yeah,
Up to the track the entire time. What you're aiming for.
Do we have time for a big donation?
Of course.
We have 50 euros from Pokemon Edgelord Meme X Ding. Hello, Pokemon Edgelord Meme X Ding here. Just want to say thank you for this awesome event and for the good cause. This donation goes towards naming the character for Dark Souls, Totodile. Because we need more memes in this marathon. Good luck to the runners, and thanks again for the event. And that basically sniped the donation incentive. Not yet. We still have some minutes.
Come on, Shark, do it.
But this means that
Karma.
currently the leading name will be Totodile Re with, let me quick calculate, 26 euros against Fingo Sucks. So if you want to snipe again, get your donations in.
Okay, time is coming up as soon as I cross the finish line. was close.
That shell wanted a piece of the action.
All right, 10 seconds left. And time. All right. Nice job.
Oh, beautiful time. 4:49.99.
Yes, right in time. All right, that's only 27 seconds off PR. The world record is a lot faster. It's 38:20 something, I think, or 30, I don't know, something around this. Yeah, I'm not the best runner of this category, but you have a lot of strats for this as well. Like, not the safest strats, and I just left them all out. So yeah, this is Mario Kart 64 All Cups 150cc, no skips. Thanks for watching.
Thank you very much for that awesome Mario Kart 64 run.